Hey, Steve Mignani here doing the Junkyard crawl at Bernardston Auto Wrecking in Bernardston, Massachusetts. Ever heard of a Dodge Coronet? You probably have. 1949 through 1976, the Dodge Coronet was a mainstay in every Dodge dealership all over the country. This is a 1950 from the second model year of the Coronet nameplate. Now, 1949 was a major revolution in Dodge styling. 1948 and before, pontoon fenders bolted on. Well, 49 brought the envelope styling, wherein the front fenders were smooth, the wheel was tucked in, no more running boards, and really entered the modern era of automotive design in the post-war period. Now, 1949, again, there was only one engine possible, as there was in 1950, the 230 cubic inch flathead 6, this puppy right here. And it's hard to imagine that as late as 1969, there were 8 possible engines in your Dodge Coronet, from the Slant 6 up to the 446 pack. But again, for 1950, the only engine available was this thing right here. 1953 would bring the first Dodge Red Ram Hemi, but again, that was 3 model years away from this one here. And getting back to the term Ram, now today we all know that Dodge, well, Ram trucks, don't call it a Dodge Ram, but the Ram truck line is one of America's success stories. I mean, really kicking butt. The Dodge Hemi Rams and Cummins diesels, the TRX, they're amazing things. Well, look at this right here. That is a Ram. Okay, now you got to wonder, what is a Ram truck logo doing on a passenger car? Well, it actually goes the other way around. Starting in 1932, the Dodge corporate logo went from the Star of David, which was basically not a religious thing, but rather John and Horace Dodge's symbol of unity. They were friends and they were business partners, and they went to the Ram in 32. And that basically was about persistence, Ram tough, if you will, something that just doesn't give up. And so here it is right here, 1932, first year for the Ram logo. And of course today, the namesake for the truck line from Chrysler Corporation. So the Ram hood ornament right there, that's not taken off a truck, but that was seen on every Dodge from 1932, well, for many, many years, including 1950. Now, as we make our way around this one here, we can see this is a Coronet, which again, the second year for the Coronet nameplate. We see it right here. And Coronet and Gyromatic. The word Gyromatic at the bottom, that tells us this is the semi-automatic manual transmission, first seen right here in 1950. And if we take a peek inside, Shane will switch spots. There is a clutch pedal in this one. We'll see it on the left-hand side. And there is also what looks like a 3-speed manual shifter, but not so fast. That's the Gyromatic, which had a clutch, and yet once you put it into gear, you could actually stop and it would change 2 gears at a time. And inside, we'll notice in the center right there, that's not a radio, that's actually radio delete. See the little buttons and the plugs on the bottom of the dash right there? That's radio delete. You got to remember, you paid extra for radio in 1950. And the first radio in a Dodge was 1934, but as early as 1930, you could order your Dodge with a factory installed radio antenna, which at that point in time was a wire mesh installed under the running boards or up in the roof on closed roof cars. So again, the antenna came first, and you have it upfit at the Dodge or a local radio installer. A big square unit went under the dashboard. But again, by 1950, you could get the radio installed in the dash if you paid for it. If not, you got that block-off plate. Now, this is Motor Trend right here, March 1950. This is the 7th issue ever of the mighty Motor Trend, and we know that Motor Trend never makes any mistakes of any kind, with one little exception. Canceled? What do you mean we're canceled? But inside, this is a road test of the new Dodge Coronets. Well, or is it? Well, no. This is actually a Plymouth, 1950 Plymouth. Now, the Plymouth and the Dodge were similar cars, but a little bit different. Here's why. The Plymouth was actually Chrysler Corporation's cheapest model, $1,629, versus Dodge's cheapest model, $1,927. So the Dodge was $300 more, but the Dodge rode on a 123-inch wheelbase versus Plymouth's 118. So the Dodge was the mid-price model. And it says here, of course, that with the introduction of their 49 line cars with Chrysler Corporation, evolved functional styling. And again, this year they have set the pace in this type of styling concept. Again, that's all about the envelope body, wherein there's no more pontoon, no more side running boards or anything like that. And you got to remember too, within 6 years, by 1957, the Dodge or the Chrysler forward look, Virgil Exner, would completely revolutionize the look of Chrysler Corporation. But they made baby steps, and here it is right here, second year for the envelope body. But again, by the 1960s, everything was radically different. So it's funny how the 1950s were an amazing decade for automotive design. Now, this is a four-door sedan, and let's play a little game here. This one does have a lot of debris and stuff in the back, and I see some cardboard boxes. Whatever could be in them? let's have a look. Okay, here's our first victim right here. Okay, nice. Galvanized roofing nails. There's some like spikes, kind of cool right there. Nice to see that. Okay, not quite into the Krugerrand department yet, but hopefully, I always say that there's Krugerrands in these boxes. Of course, Krugerrands are South African gold coins worth a small fortune. And no, more nails. Look at this. Look at that. If this was a Buick, I'd say it was a nail head. Ha ha ha. But again, more stuff in the back. Okay, bigger nails. Look at this. We have a hardware store. This is basically Overshawn hardware right here in the back seat of a Dodge. And these are pretty nasty little roofing type nails, I guess. So no Krugerrands, unfortunately. But one detail about Dodge and Plymouth and Chrysler, the envelope styling only applied to the front of the car. We look at the rear fender and we can see that it still stands a little bit proud of the body. Well, that was very much functional. The idea being the rear fender was a bolt-on affair. So if you crunch the rear fender, you could unbolt this fender, replace it without the expense of a welded-on quarter panel where you'd have some pretty serious body work. So again, the envelope styling was sort of done with a wink and an asterisk at the back. But again, these were fairly successful cars in 1950. And again, this one here being a Gyromatic has a semi-automatic transmission that opened the door to people who couldn't drive a stick. And for the most part, you know, ladies in the 50s, 40s weren't so hip to driving a stick shift. So by putting automatics in cars, Detroit invited a whole new segment of buyers to the picture. A lot of ladies bought cars, and guys who didn't want to work a clutch would buy a Gyro Torque. And of course, the Gyro Torque would evolve into the Power Flight, the Torque Flight, and of course, the modern Torque Flight 8 seen in modern Hellcats. And it kind of all starts right here, 1950. But again, second year right here for the Coronet nameplate, which ran through 1976. Now, if you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Maggs YouTube channel. Ring the bell, hit the like button, all that kind of stuff. Share it with your friends. And again, that bell is important because that will alert you when the next video hits, which is tomorrow morning.